Hello, everyone. This is Amy Muriungi of SK Insurance Agency, and welcome to SK Talks. Today we have a second guest in studio. His name is Eric Kihungu of Eric Kihungu and Co Advocates. Eric, welcome to the studio, and thank you for. We're so pleased to have you over.
Thank you.
Why we have Eric, in case you're wondering, is because I find that every time we're talking life insurance and I'm getting clients on board and clients are signing up, I feel like to close this completely, you need to secure your life and your wealth for your family and leave no loopholes, and that's why we have Eric.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm happy to share the little knowledge that I have, just to make sure that clients are well protected, and they also ensure that their families are protected in the event they are not here to protect their families themselves. So asante sana for having me.
Okay. So my first question for you, Eric, is what is succession? What is succession law, and why is it important for every family to understand it?
Thanks, Amy. So broadly, succession refers to the process through which your assets as an individual pass to the next generation. There could be a number of definitions, but that will be the simplest, how we define succession. Yes.
So, what we know mostly is wills.
Yeah.
What happens legally when someone dies without a will in Kenya?
Okay. So in the event that you die without a will in Kenya, you'll be considered to have died intestate, right? When you die with a will, that is considered testate. When you die without a will, it's considered intestate.
So intestate?
Yes.
Without a will?
Yes.
And the other one was?
Testate.
Testate?
Yes.
With a will?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So maybe my next question would be,
yes,
then what does it mean then if you die? I mean, what does it mean for your family if you die intestate?
Intestate. Very good.
Yes.
So when you die intestate, that means you did not give direction as to how your property should be distributed after you've passed away.
Okay.
So what happens then, and this is where you find there's usually a lot of issues when someone has passed away, because you are not clear as to how your assets should be distributed after you've passed away. This is where you find people are going to courts, fighting with their brothers and sisters and stepsisters and stepfathers and stepmothers, because it wasn't clear how the property should be distributed. Just to give an overview.
Okay. Before we move to even that, that's someone who's died intestate, without a will.
Yes.
But we've seen people going to court even when they've died testate.
Yes.
With a will.
Yes.
So.
Yes, there are instances where you find someone that has a will that has passed away, but people are still going to court. But at least from what we've seen in practice, is the people that usually go to court, even if a will was there, is either that will they're contesting the legitimacy of the will. So either the person, when they were making the will, they were either unwell, or they were not in their proper frame of mind when they were making the will. So the people that are going to court are going to contest the way the assets had been distributed. Is it? Yeah. Is it?
I get it. So you're saying?
Yeah.
So if someone waits for, because yes, we've seen it happen.
Yes.
Where maybe by the time someone was thinking about finally setting up their will, it's because there's been a threat maybe to their lives.
Yes.
But why would you contest it? I'm not exactly dragged up. My senses are still here, and I'm choosing to do my will now. Why are we contesting it? I'm choosing, and I'm saying this is how I want my properties to
be
go.
Distributed.
Yeah. And I probably have witnesses.
Yes. So, again, it varies from case to case, but the people who usually contest wills are the people who feel that they've not been catered for enough. So even you as the writer of the will have to make sure that everyone is adequately catered for. Yes, because otherwise you'll just have chaos and then you will not be able to proceed, or your wishes will not be honored, because people will be in court saying, hey, dad or mom did not leave me an adequate portion, or I don't feel like this is enough, so let me contest this to be able to better care for myself. Basically, it's actually out of self-preservation, if I can put it that way. Yeah.
I saw recently our Chief Justice had declared just this last week of May that they were going to hear all the cases that had no contentions in court, had all the beneficiaries had signed. And then I was at the back of my mind, I was wondering, I don't know if you have this information. How far back are these cases? How far back this backlog that they have, they have to dedicate a whole week to just hear this. I wonder how many cases were finally.
Yes. So yes, the High Court last week did have a succession week where they were just listening to, as you mentioned, a number of cases that had no disputes. So in terms of how far back they go, I wouldn't have an exact figure, but the cases I know are in the thousands, because you find maybe cases from the 1970s, 1980s, but people were not able to produce all the documents that were required to be able to see the process through, because it's how the law of succession in Kenya works. It's a step-by-step process, and you can't get to the next step if you've not completed the previous step. So you'll find that maybe someone started the process, but they did not finish, or maybe they passed away, so now it's their children who have to come and follow up. So that is why we always insist, it's very important to have your documents in order, and as I'd mentioned before, make sure that your dependents are adequately provided for, so that in the event you're not here, you're able, or rather they feel that they've been adequately provided for in whatever you've left behind.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm thinking about that time frame.
Yeah.
And just how long that can drag on.
Yes.
So imagine even a case that started in the 90s, and maybe your children were really young.
Yes.
They've suffered through it all.
Yes.
Waiting for this court ruling.
Yes.
And now maybe guys already suffered, dropped out of school.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I had another question. A person has dependents but no will. How does the court decide who gets what?
Okay.
So this person has died intestate.
Yes.
And so now he died, no will, no nothing.
Yes.
How does but has dependents?
Yes.
Probably has 1, 2, 3 families.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's say it's the reality, right?
Yes.
How does the court then decide what is fair and who gets what?
Okay. So if a person has died intestate, that is, they don't have a will, what usually happens is among the family, they have to apply to the court through one of them to get letters of administration. A letter of administration basically gives power to one person to sort of execute or to have dominion over the estate of the deceased person on behalf of everyone else. But that is not to say that that person has absolute authority. What happens is, in part of the documents that you'll file, the family usually, or the other dependents usually have to sign to just show consensus that we have agreed this is the person that is going to represent us, and this is how this property is going to be distributed amongst all of us. Yeah.
I'm imagining if a family does not agree, what that really means is that you might have 2-3 people who are volunteering who want to be the administrators.
Yes.
So even before they agree on who is really going to be the administrator,
Yes.
That might take a while.
Yes.
For everybody to agree, yes, this
Yes.
is the most fair and just person.
Yes.
I imagine you're a single parent.
Yes.
You're a single parent and you have children.
Yes.
And maybe you still have your parents.
Yes.
You have your siblings as well.
Yes.
Who would be best, suited to come in and stand in your gap, literally, and make sure what you want, what your wishes would be for your family are met. It's a tricky one.
Again, I've seen quite a number of instances where families choose one person to sort of steer the whole process, and then when that person actually is granted the letters of administration, they change.
Of course.
Yeah. So again, I will always insist, always have a will. It is always the easiest way to make sure that your property passes through in the fairest and the easiest way possible. And then it also takes a shorter period of time.
What makes then, maybe the question would be, what makes a legal will? Like a will that is tight enough not to have people coming in and saying, trying to contest it.
Yes.
What would that will look like?
Okay. So I think I'll just give an overview. There are quite a number of requirements, but I'll just give the most basic. One, a will must be ambulatory.
English.
Sorry, I'm using legal terms.
English.
Okay, so ambulatory means that your intention is that it must take effect after your death.
Okay.
So when you're wording it, that should be very clear. That after my death is when this will is going to take effect, right? And then the other requirement is it has to be made in the presence of competent witnesses. And what do we mean by competent witnesses? Competent witnesses are, one, someone who is more than 18 years of age and is of sound mind. And they have to sign against your signature, confirming that you made the will when you are in a legal frame of mind and you had the correct capacity to actually make the will. Yeah.
One more question on this.
Yes.
How long does it take? I mean, we've seen that the courts, these cases could drag on.
Yes.
Let's imagine you have a tacit will.
Yes.
And they've gone to court. No one is, there's no contention.
Yes.
How long would that process be in Kenya, roughly? How long does that process take?
We've seen instances where a grant of probate is issued within 3 months.
Oh, really?
Yes.
But I thought they have to put it in the newspaper for 6 months.
30 days. No,
it's 30 days.
The advertisement is usually within 30 days.
Okay.
Where it has to be published in the Kenya Gazette. Okay. Where if there are no objections, then the court can issue the grant of probate. What that means is basically the court confirms that whatever is on the will is what is going to be followed. Yes.
So 3 months.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that again, you see, if you actually look at the difference in timelines between someone who has a will and someone who doesn't have a will, the family of the person who has a will, more often than not, is able to administer that property faster as opposed to the person who dies without a will.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what are letters of administration and how do they differ from probate?
Okay.
Are they two different?
Yes.
Totally. Okay.
Yes. So letters of administration are only issued when someone dies intestate. So you remember the conversation how we started.
Letters of administration are only
issued
when someone died intestate without a will.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. And then the grant of probate is issued when someone has died with a will. But what the grant of probate is, it's basically the court confirming that this will is valid and we confirm it. So to confirm that, they issue you with a grant of probate.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope, guys, we've not lost you, and I hope you're following.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
So let's
yeah.
go to trusts, insurance, and estate planning.
Yes.
How can setting up a trust
Yes.
help in managing and protecting family assets?
Great. That's a very good question, Amy. So a trust it's a legal entity different from its creators. And what a trust usually does, it ensures that the flow of assets to the next generation of people in a particular family setting is very seamless. A trust is its own legal entity that it can be sued and can sue on its own behalf, and it can also hold property in its own right. To answer your question in terms of how it helps preserve wealth for clients, in the event someone dies, right, and they've already established or they've put their properties under trust, what usually happens is you don't have to go through the probate, the court process. It automatically happens that in the event you die, the next generation automatically takes over. That's usually the key benefit of setting up a trust.
And that it cannot be can you contest a trust?
It's highly unlikely, unless when the trust was being created there was fraud or there was something that was not done properly. But
now, how do you determine that there was fraud?
Anyway, so just top of mind, if you think about maybe a forged signature when signing the trust deed, then that will be deemed as an inappropriate procedure of setting up the trust. But that's a conversation we can have another day, because that is totally different. Yeah, and it will take us down a different
rabbit hole.
Yes, a rabbit hole. Yeah, yes.
So yeah, what's the okay? So I like the trust part.
Yes.
Why? Because maybe in my line of work and
Yes.
talking to clients and talking to them about them having the life insurance and how
Yes.
it can ease the burden of, help you in dividing your wealth.
Yes.
In you helping have a cash estate.
Yes.
So that your transfer of wealth is also
seamless. Yes.
I've found from what I've been learning in this journey is that the trust is way more secure than your will.
Yes.
You can have your will to guide your trust.
Yes.
But your trust is in place.
Yes, that's
so
correct.
So that you're saving your family the agony from the agony of having to go to court.
Correct.
Also, I know in your trust, and even in your will, I think, in your will, can you also put in your trust when you can't sign for yourself, like in case you're mentally incapacitated.
Yes.
When you elect what do you call them?
A duly authorized representative through a power of attorney.
Yes, your power of attorney.
Yes.
Can you do that in your will? Can you have your power of attorney in your will, or is that only in the trust? Because I know the power of attorney is something we don't think about, but because we never think about, we think of two. When people think about transferring their wealth, they think of only two things.
Yes.
You've died.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You're dead.
Yes.
But we don't think that you need to have this in place in case you're fully incapacitated.
That's correct.
Mentally, or you're in ICU, or in a vegetative state, and you need decisions to be made
on your behalf.
Yeah. How important it is to have your power of attorney.
Yes.
Have it now when you're sane.
Yes.
So that then you don't have, you deteriorating because nobody can seem to make the decision.
Yes.
on maybe your care.
Yes.
Is that only in the trust, or can you do that with your will?
So a power of attorney can be issued but separate from your will, right? It is a separate document.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yes, it's a separate document because a power of attorney is very specific. It's not general. A power of attorney is very specific because it's really how we describe it. It's a donation of powers, of your powers to a representative for a specific period of time. That's the difference. A power of attorney, you can find instances where a power of attorney is valid for 6 months to a year. That's how powers of attorney are drafted, right? And it usually has to be registered.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, I think I have started leaning
Yes.
towards the trust a lot.
Yes.
Because then it encompasses so much.
Yes.
And you're not leaving any loopholes
That's correct.
at all. Because then if you're saying if I write my will, then I have to go now register there.
Yes.
My power of attorney, it's a different entity altogether.
Yes.
Eh. Okay. So what's the difference between this question? What's the difference between naming someone in a will versus making them a beneficiary on your insurance policy or trust?
Okay. If I've gotten the question, you've asked what's the difference between naming a person as a beneficiary in your insurance policy?
Yes, so your insurance policy
Yes.
has your beneficiaries.
That's correct.
In your will,
Yes.
you've named this person
Yes.
as maybe you've left them something
Yes.
in your will.
Yes.
But they were not in your insurance policy.
Okay. Great. That's a great question and something we've actually seen
Yeah.
quite in quite a number of events. So what will happen in the event of your death? If you've appointed someone as a beneficiary in your insurance policy, then that person is the one who is going to get the proceeds from that policy.
Okay.
And this is notwithstanding the fact that they are in your will. So how it's usually interpreted, when you do a will, what is considered part of your property is anything that has not expressly appointed a beneficiary. For instance, in the insurance policy, your SACCO deposits, because when you're signing up the forms, they usually expressly ask you to appoint beneficiaries. So what will happen then, in the event of your death, the beneficiaries that are in the form are the ones who are going to be legally entitled to inherit that portion of your property, regardless of the fact that this property may have been in the will. The courts will consider the beneficiaries in the form superior to what is in the will. That is why it's important when you're drafting a will, engage the services of a lawyer who will be able to guide you through the process so that you don't make some of these mistakes that we've been seeing people making in this process of succession. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So if someone has an insurance policy,
Yes.
does that money go to probate?
No, it doesn't.
Guys, are you listening? Your life insurance policy does not go through probate.
Yes.
Nobody can come and contest it. Nobody can take you to court and say that they are missing from your insurance policy as a beneficiary. That's the one document that cannot be contested.
Yes.
Okay. So, what are some of the common mistakes families make when planning succession?
Just from what we've seen, I think I'd mentioned this earlier, the simple fact of not having a will. That in itself is a big mistake, because what then this does, it has multiple effects, right? because maybe siblings cannot agree on how to distribute the property, or other siblings feel they are being provided for. Some dependents are also left out. So I'd say the first mistake is not having a will. The second one, I think we've also seen, is not having proper documents. Just you as a person, you don't know where your assets are, you don't know where your shambas are. Like, everything is everywhere. So you find that when you die, your dependents are not able to trace some of your properties. I, for one, have been trying to assist and to try and encourage clients to properly document their assets, their properties, so that you don't have people who are struggling after you died.
But Eric,
yeah,
it's an African culture, especially for the men. Well, I'm not going to blame only the men, because I realize now even women will buy properties and keep quiet.
Yes.
Case in point, I had a friend of mine and their mom passed away, and I think when they were trying to do the succession, because they let dad take the things, they found out she had land, she had bank accounts. They were so shocked. They were so shocked she was not a poor lady. Yes. They were quite surprised about it.
Yes.
So I find that we thought the men kept this information to themselves for whatever reason.
Yes.
Which I find quite absurd.
It is.
Because you cannot work so hard for something. Keep it a secret. Then when you die, it goes to the state. Literally. You worked for the state. So all that the state takes, and that's why the state is holding billions. I think they're not even telling us the exact amount of what they have in unclaimed assets.
Yes. The figure is in the multiple billions.
And just thinking again through work and things we see, simple things even like pension plans.
Yes.
So you worked at company A, you were really young, you were in your early 20s, you had a pension, but when you left it there. You went to company B, especially salespeople. I think there are certain positions that people move around quite a lot.
Often,
so you left company A, went to company B, the same thing, left. And I keep telling my clients, you must consolidate all these things.
Correct.
Your loved ones, your children will never remember that. Oh, dad or mom had a stint at, for example, East African breweries, like for 2 years when they first left university, and they had a pension. And then maybe they went to, I don't know, something else. They will know a few, but they will not know all of them.
History.
And really, you don't also want it to be them trying to go to follow up. We've seen that this stuff can be stolen as well. It can be stolen. So it's so important to always consolidate. I like you saying that we need to document. We've seen lots of cases where a partner has died. The partner who's left didn't even know there was property in certain areas, and the people who know can choose to keep quiet with this information, and you lose it. And the loved ones, the ones who you used to work hard for, are the ones left suffering. So also, what would be your advice for in blended families or where people remarry? What special legal issues should they be aware of?
Wow, thanks. I think how we'd advise people coming from blended families, one is, even as you plan to get or to blend the families, be very clear in terms of, these are the assets that I have, these are the assets that you have, right? Have a talk in terms of how you would want those assets to be distributed in the event that neither of you are there. Again, it's unfortunate, but in African culture, it's taboo to talk about death, right? And I think that's why most people avoid thinking about what will happen in the event I'm not here. But I think we really need to have a mindset change, because death is part and parcel of life, and the sooner you plan for it, right, the easier it becomes for you and your dependents in the event that you're not there. So I think I'd really encourage families to have open conversations about their properties, their wealth, and what happens in the event that neither of them are there. Yeah, I think that's really how I'd summarize
I know
that
we
conversation.
we have a long way to go, but I have been seeing a lot of progression.
Yes.
I've seen, especially with the millennials
Yes,
and
yes.
and the
Gen
Zs,
yes.
and some Gen Xs.
Yes.
You know, you're starting to get that
Right.
light bulb moment, because you really don't want to go through it. Either you saw your parents go through
Exactly.
a similar situation, you've
Exactly.
had friends who've gone through succession, or where life just changes 360.
Exactly.
And it's, you know, we speak about it,
Right,
and then you
but
think it only happens to
other people.
It
I know.
cannot happen to you.
I know. I know.
Until it happens
to you. Then
when
you're
it
like,
happens to you and it's very close to you, and then you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
So this stuff is real, and this stuff actually happens.
Yes, it does.
It's crazy how just the difference of someone being here today
Yes,
and
and
not
then
here tomorrow,
yes.
can cause such a drift.
A very
Just
significant
that heartbeat
drift.
stopping,
Yes.
and things are thrown
Quagmire.
haywire. I mean,
Completely.
and I guess that's very important also, because I think we have to move away from cultures where we've seen mostly a widow lose everything.
Yes.
Because there are cultures where they would walk into your home and then just sweep it clean.
Completely. Yes. Yes.
You and your children can be on the floor. These guys don't care.
They don't care. They don't care. All because you did not clearly dictate, this is what I wanted to happen.
Or go ahead and secure it completely. For me, I'm
Yes.
like, I'm into this trust business.
Yes.
Because nobody is going to change.
Touch.
All the title deeds are in the trust.
Trust. Yes.
Everything is so clear, it's airtight.
Yes.
So that even if they try to steal, they cannot
They
steal
can't.
it.
They can't touch it.
They can't touch it.
Yeah.
It's been completely sealed. So we have to really be proactive about this,
Yes.
and we have to talk about it often. And every time I think of a trust, I think of people with you have children, or maybe you and your partner both go at the same time.
Yes.
So you have young children.
Yes.
Who's going to go and file those papers for
Yes, for
administration
them.
if you
Yes.
die
Intestate.
intestate?
Yes.
If you die intestate, no will, no trust, nothing.
Yeah.
And you have really young children, just
Right.
I want you sat there, if you have young children, think about what would happen,
Yeah.
because that's what you owe them.
True. Very, very
That's what
true.
you owe them. And then think about and now just the importance of now this trust. And I saw this case with a colleague of mine, and he has clients. I had him here. I interviewed him. He was my first.
Guest.
He was my
Okay.
first guest. You know, the second.
Yeah.
And he was talking about this family where he was helping them do their trust and set up everything.
Right.
And this lady has 2 children who are disabled.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
So these are children who will always need assistance.
Yes.
And when you're not here,
Yes.
and yes, you've amassed all this wealth,
Yes.
then how do you make sure? Because really, you can't leave them with no will. You can't. So she's been able to create a trust, put all her properties, put them in the trust, dictate what should happen. Because these are not children who will need properties. They'll not need that house that they can go collect rent or whatever. So she's dictated exactly what should happen to her properties, so that her children will never lack. They'll always have caregivers. They'll always have, money to go around, have medical insurance, have whatever for generations. So
Yeah.
that's something people are not really. I feel like Kenyans, we need to
Yeah. We
wake
need
up.
to. Yeah.
And
we
it's
need
not
to.
for the rich. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
It's not.
You have a car there.
Yeah.
You have a car plot, sijui where.
Yes.
All that stuff needs to be
Yeah.
secured,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So, so Eric, in your opinion, how do you think us financial advisors and lawyers can help clients plan their estates more effectively?
Great. That's a very good question, Amy. I see a way where both financial advisors and lawyers can adequately work together, in the sense that your financial advisor sort of has a direction or has an idea of the assets that you have, right? So collaborating between the financial advisor and the lawyer to make sure that, one, your assets that you've been able to accumulate or are in the process of accumulating are well protected through the mechanisms that we've talked about before. Whether it's in the form of having those properties or those assets in a trust, right? And in the event you actually want to be very clear what these assets need to do after you've passed away, then you have that process in the will. Because what then you will find is, fine, you may have a will, but as you're accumulating these properties or these assets, you'll find that you did not adequately provide for everything. And who has this information? It's your financial advisor, right? So if there can be a way where those people that are acting on your best interest can be aware, can be made aware of what it is that you have or you're in the process of having, that way it's constantly updated, right?
Yeah.
And in the event that you're not there, it's just a matter of pulling out and saying, oh yeah, this is what your dad has, this is what they've been able to leave you guys, this is how we'll proceed from here to the next step. Yeah, I think that will be a way.
I think that's important. You've reminded me of also how important it is to always update your beneficiaries.
Yes.
At every change.
Yes.
So maybe you started your policies. I mean, when you got employed, you probably put your mother.
Yes.
We all put our mothers for whatever reason.
Yes.
Yeah. So you put your mom, but you've gone ahead, you've gotten married, you have children. You've never updated.
Yes.
Your beneficiaries, even for your company benefits.
Yes.
Even those ones.
Yes.
People don't put, maybe you'd put your sister, your twin, whoever it is, but people need to keep updating. At every change in life.
Correct.
Update your beneficiaries.
Correct.
So important. Because then you don't want to leave your loved ones at the mercy of your other loved one.
Yes.
And now you're gone and this loved one is being told, oh no, they'd put you down and you've come into this sort of money, and this person is thinking, the way I've had problems.
Let me. Yes.
So it's so important to always change that.
Yeah.
I think finally, this is the last question, I think.
Yeah.
What are one or two things every Kenyan should do now to avoid a messy succession?
Okay.
Case later.
All right. I think that really just summarizes what we've talked about throughout the podcast. One, documentation. Have proper documents for yourself, right? Have honest conversations with your dependents about how your assets are going to be distributed in the event that you're not there, and put it in writing. A will is more often than not the best way to ensure that your assets are properly distributed and everyone is taken care of in the way that you know them best, right? The other way is ensuring that if you want to go even a step higher, having a trust is the best way to sort of encompass all that. Yes, I think that's what I'd summarize for every Kenyan to note. Yes.
I like this. I don't know why this is not being taught in campus.
I know we should.
Or in high school, Form 4.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
By the time you're leaving Form 4, you're being put to be an adult. You're about to have your ID card to be legal. This is a class. It should be a class. It should be a unit. It should be something. And then, all throughout campus, every year, there's a unit on trusts, on insurance, on... I'm so grateful for you coming.
Thank you.
Because I think we've simplified it. I know most people never understand what it means, especially to be without that will. There's nothing you're preventing by not writing it. You're actually causing the more problems by not writing it. And it can be changed. Maybe people don't understand that you can review your will as many times as possible. I know what is hard is what you've just said. That you need to have this conversation with your dependents about how you want your family distributed. Please, it's hard. Having an old school dad and when my dad was ill,
Yeah.
I tried to get him to, and he'd just blabber out what he wants, and he'd say it, and he says it. And he was so confident about it.
Yes.
Like, it's going to be sorted. You're
Yeah,
here, this and this will happen.
Yes.
If there's a way I could send a letter, I would send him and be like, see what you did.
I know.
Look at how these things stand out.
Yeah.
So
I know.
It's so important for us to be intentional.
Yes, we have to be.
Very, very intentional.
Yeah.
I know I find when I'm doing these insurance policies and this guy he's like, put my children, the beneficiaries. Then I see all these children are all under 18.
Yes.
So I'm like, we have to put in a guardian.
Yes.
You have to think about who the guardian of these children would be, because one, this application is incomplete.
Correct.
With underage children.
Correct.
You have to put in a guardian, and you see the guy sit back.
Correct. Yeah.
And he's like, and I'm like, is the other parent there?
Yeah.
Is the other parent? They're like, no. I don't want them to touch my money.
Yeah.
So it comes down to, then my suggestion would be start a trust.
Yes.
Set up a trust.
Yes.
Then you put in the trust as your beneficiary.
Yes. Then
because it's the guardian of how this will be distributed.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you for tuning in. It's been amazing. Eric, I'm so grateful for you giving me your time, and gracing us with your presence.
Thank you.
How can people reach you in case they need you?
Yes.
I need your advice.
All right. Thank you. We have our website. It's www.enkihunguadvocates.com, or you can also reach us via cell 0777 958 251. Our offices are in Westlands, West Park Towers, Suite 509 on the 5th floor. Welcome, and we are more than happy to help you sort out your issues. Thank you very much.
All right, guys. We look forward to always serving you. We look forward to having all of you make sure that you get your life insurance in place. The earlier, the better. You're only as young as you are today.
Yes.
Tomorrow, you'll be a day. Actually, by the evening, you're older.
Yeah.
All right. Every day you get older. Please feel free to reach out to us. We're here for you anytime. And thanks for watching.
Right. Thank you.
And listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.